Welcome everyone to my Rose Cup team building guide, and today I am going to go over my thought process on how I build my teams in general. So first I like to take one fighter. So the most prominent fighters are Medicham, Crafty, and Machem. So for this video's sake, let us pick Medicham. Just suppose you want to run Medicham. So now think about what Medicham is weak to. So the most prominent thing that Medicham is weak to is charm and flyers. So now try to think about what beats both. What beats charm and what beats flyers too. Steel beats them. And what's the best steel? It's Probopass. Now you can run Steelix too. Steelix does the same job, but Steelix is iffy versus fairies, so I suggest running Probopass. I think Probopass is way better than Steelix and any other steel types in the Prison Cup. So now, and talking about sets, Medicham I like to run Counter, Dynamic Punch, and Ice Punch, but I have seen a few people run Psychic instead of Dynamic Punch because of its ghost matchups. I will get to that on later. And for Probopass, run. I prefer running Spark and Rock Slide and Magnet Bomb. You need Magnet Bomb, by the way, for the fairies and for Rhyperiors and a few key matchups. You need that Magnet Bomb. I will not go over every individual matchup in this video. I feel that a lot of YouTubers have already covered the Meta Simplified guide, in-depth matchups and in general matchups already, so I will not go through the matchups, but I will just tell the key matchups and why I picked those few modes for the slots I did. So first Medicham, second Probopass with Spark because I like energy generation, but you can run Rock Throw. It's your personal choice. So now thinking about that, and what is Medicham weak to? Medicham is weak to Sableye because of its psychic subtyping. So if I picked Machamp, if I picked Scrafty, this wouldn't be an issue. But as I picked Medicham, ghost types are an issue. So Sableye specifically, you pick Wigglytuff because Wigglytuff is the hardest counter for Sableye, and Wigglytuff is a staple. There is no subsidiary mount for Wigglytuff because Wigglytuff with its normal typing is just so good. Like versus Alolan Marowak, he cannot Shadow Ball you because of normal type. Versus Sableye, you just charm him down. Versus other Granbuls and other fairies, you can charm them down. And Wigglytuff is staple. No going around that. And after that, let's pick a flyer. You need a flyer. So you have fighter, you got a steel to counter its weaknesses. You got Wigglytuff to counter the ghost weaknesses. Now you need a fire. So what fire you might need. Now Sableye and Probopass both are weak to Rhyperior, Steelix, anything like that. So and they are both weak to Machamp. So suppose your Medicham is down. So what do you do if your opponent has a Machamp and both your Medicham is down and you didn't take Wigglytuff in your slot? Suppose you didn't take Wigglytuff in your team of three. So what do you do then? So you need one more counter for the flyer fighters, and that is flyers. So I suggest running Skarmory for this video's sake because both Probopass and the next mons that I'm going to talk about is weak to um, specifically Machamp and Rhyperior. So although Skarmory loses to Rhyperior, but with Flash Cannon, Skarmory can almost a one-shot Rhyperior, and versus Probopass, although that is a losing matchup, Skarmory can Flash Cannon does about half of Probopass, and versus Rhyperior, it's almost a one-shot, not a full one-shot. I'm not sure about that. You can run the sims and see for yourself. I will link the sims down below, and I will also link a few videos for the meta simplified guide if you are looking for one. I didn't cover it. I am going to link HeroVange's and Zyonik's video on that below. And so you have 4 months now. So Medicham, Probopass, Wigglytuff, both for Medicham's weaknesses, Flyer for their weaknesses. So the anti counter is the Flyers. And for that you take Skarmory. You can also make do with Charizard. You can use Golbat. Anything is fine. I am not going to go through them individually, but Skarmory I feel is good. Now this team, specifically this team, Medicham, Skarmory, and Probopass is weak to Alolan Marowak. Now you don't. You might say, Jay, that Probopass actually loses, can win against Alolan Marowak if that is the Rock Throw variant in the straight Sims, in like vacant no energy advantage lead scenario. But that is an iffy situation. Mane, it's not your it's not a surefire thing for Probopass to beat Alolan Marowak. And Medicham and Skarmory, they kind of lose to Alolan Marowak. So now this team is looking a bit weak to Alolan Marowak. Probopass and Wigglytuff iffy versus Alouette. And Medicham, Skarmory, they pretty much lose. So now you have two slots. So number one, hard counter for Alolan Marowak. And for that, I would like to choose Sableye. Sableye can go toe to toe versus any fighter. It does lose to Scrafty, but Machamp is iffy. Medicham it beats, and it can beat almost any ghost in the lead scenario. No energy advantage, and this team is focused on Alolan Marowak counters. You will see in your upcoming cups because that a lot of people are using Alolan Marowak safe swapping strategy. So in this team, I am putting as many Alolan Marowak counters as possible so that even if your opponent tries to bring in Alolan Marowak, you can stall it, you can wall it with anything. So Sableye, it's a surefire thing, just straight foul play. I suggest running Power Gem for fairies. You will street, you will still lose to fairies, but having Power Gem, you can go against it. And another surprising thing, in like if Machamp pulls off a bait of Cross Chop and Rock Slide, it wins versus Sableye. But if Sableye has Shadow Sneak, Machamp actually loses. You can just go straight Shadow Sneak and Machamp loses the match. So it's just telling you that I do suggest running Power Gem, but you can run Shadow Sneak instead of Power Gem, and Foul Play is a must. But this set does get hardwalled by Scrafty. And the last slot, the sixth slot, you can take any spice pick you want. Anything is good for this slot, but I prefer Rhyperior for this slot because, again, what I told before, because almost three to four Pokemons of this team have either lose or have iffy matchups versus Alolan Marowak. So now you take a good counter for Alolan Marowak with Rhyperior. I suggest running Mudslap and Surf and Superpower. You can also run Smackdown, but running Mudslap makes you win versus Probopass, other Steel types, and other Rock Crown types. So I suggest running Mudslap. You can run Smackdown. That's it. So this team, you can run the Sims. So this team still has iffy matchups versus Alolan Marowak. So if you see your opponent has Alolan Marowak, you can just take two counters for Alolan Marowak in the back, so that even if one counter is down, you have something for Alolan Marowak because you are trying to block your opponent from safe swapping and getting energy on Alolan Marowak. Sableye can tank a Shadow Ball. Rhyperior can tank two Bone Clubs. I am not sure if it can tank two, but one surely. And just go straight Surf. It can beat Alolan Marowak. So this is my thought process when building a team. So first, take a fighter. Take two things that counters your fighter's weaknesses. As I took Medicham. It has weaknesses against Charm and Sableye, specifically Sableye. So I took Probopass and Skarmory for that, and I took Wigglytuff as a staple. Wigglytuff is a staple in your fourth slot. You can, I have seen people run Granbull, I've seen people run Clefable. You still can, but I feel that Wigglytuff doesn't really have an alternative. And as this specific team is weak to Alolan Marowak, is kind of weak to Alolan Marowak, I took, and in those two spice pick slots, I took two things that are strong against Alolan Marowak, so that my team doesn't have a glaring weakness versus Alolan Marowak. Run the Sims with those four mons: Fighter, Flyer, Steel, and your Charmer, that is really tough, or any charm if you wish, and see what those four are weak against. You'll see that Sylph PvPoke will run a sim against that team and will suggest you 10 potential threats against that team, and after that it will suggest, I think, another 10 set of mons that can beat those 10 mons. So what I like to do is, PvPoke does this by just running overall sims. It doesn't really run sims against the metamons, and metamons are the ones you will face most often. So I suggest on that potential threat list, try to pick metamons. Don't try to pick off metamons. Yes, in that case your team might be weak to off metamons, but if you balance it out well, you can understand that your team, you might come to know that your team isn't really weak to a specific off metamon, and if it is, you have those flex picks, those two flex picks to balance out your team against a specific mon, or a specific set of mons that your team of four is weak to. So this is how I like to build my Rose Cup team. I haven't really, this isn't really an informative video. I just did this, made this video to go over my thought process and to help you guys make your own teams. So all simulation links and the links to meta simplified guides, two meta simplified guides will be linked below. And hope you like my video. This is Bhuvan Ahmed signing out.